This broadcast is brought to you courtesy of amateur radio station VK7AX in Ulverstone, northwest Tasmania.
Welcome to the VK7 Amateur Radio news for the 19th day of April 2026, your gateway to what's happening across the airwaves in Tasmania and beyond. Coming to you from the Tasmanian Amateur Radio News Desk is Pete of VK7PD for the latest updates, stories and insights from our amateur radio community. We're broadcasting far and wide thanks to our dedicated team. DMR Talk Group 5 and D-Star Reflector 91C via the digital group. HF Relays 1.862 MHz, Graham VK7GS. Please note change of frequency. 3.67 MHz Gross VK7ALH, 7.14 MHz Gary VK7JGD, 14.13 MHz Any Takers, 28.525 MHz Mark VK7FMAC, and locally in Hobart on UHF CB24, also with Mark VK7FMAC, there is no HFCB24 broadcast this morning. Missed it live? Catch the replay Tuesday 8 p.m. on repeaters VK7RAA North, VK7RHT, and on UHF CB24, HF CB24 South. Stay tuned and enjoy the news. Statewide SSTV nights. A busy net night that saw the following participants: VK7's ZAB, AX, KT, OO, ZCF and PAK, all sharing 45 photos. The main themes were: you never know what you might find on the moon, maybe Pink Floyd, artifacts and Epstein files. SSTV decodes from ARIS, photos from Series 31 that commemorates world space achievements such as 45th anniversary of the first space shuttle flight, 65th anniversary of Yuri Gagarin's first flight, 100th anniversary of first liquid fuel flight, and down-to-earth lightning and radio telescopes. Again, Tony VK7AX interconnected VK7RJG to his SSTV International Gateway, and VK7's exchanged photos with PC1K and PA3EKI in the Netherlands. Please remember to leave a 30-second break between transmissions to allow the European countries a chance to send photos. Note, Ken VK7KRJ's and Steve's VK700's fully automatic 24/7 monitoring sites that allow anyone testing to send a picture and the ability to check their transmission on these pages almost immediately, anytime both South and North Tasmania. If you missed the net, there are archives of these SSTV nights on Ken's and Steve's websites or on NTAG's website under blogs. 73 from Andre VK7ZAB. Tassie Ham Econ Radio Conference. Preliminary program released. The theme of the conference for 2026 is Hack the Ether, Education, Ingenuity, Connection. Hack the Ether celebrates the experimental DNA of amateur radio, where education meets invention and community meets curiosity. The 2026 conference invites participants to push beyond nostalgia and build a hobby's next chapter through practical learning, creative collaboration and purposeful leadership. The conference will again be fully catered. Tassie Ham Econ 2026 is the meeting point of amateurs, experimenters, educators and storytellers. There are 4 focus areas to the conference. 1. Hack the Mind, focusing on education and learning features. 2. Hack the System, focusing on ingenuity and experimentation. 3. Hack the Culture, focusing on engagement and connection, and Hack the Future, focusing on leadership and purpose. The preliminary program under each of these conference theme areas is available on the conference website, and the booking form is going live next week. When does it happen? Saturday 7th and Sunday 8th of November 2026. Conference, and we are planning pre- and post-conference events. Location will be the outstanding Sir Stanley Burberry Theatre on UTAS Sandy Bay campus. Keep your eye on the conference website as details unfold. 73 Conference Organising Group. WWFF SOTA POTA and IOTA Weekly Wrap-Up. This weekend is POTA's Autumn Support Your Parks Weekend, which is expected to see increased park activity across the bands. All participants, whether activating or hunting, who make at least one park contact will receive a certificate of participation. If you're an activator, please take the time to upload your logs. Without them, we won't receive credit for your activation, and your hunters won't receive credit for their QSOs. Hunters rely on activators uploading logs to earn their points, awards and certificates, so timely uploads benefit everyone. Hunters play a vital role in making our activations successful, so it's important to keep them in mind and upload logs promptly after each activation. While there's no strict deadlines, common practice is to submit logs within 1 to 2 days. Over the coming weeks, I'll cover different logging methods and ways to upload logs. Activators have been out and about this week. Jim, VK7JZ, pushed his way through rough weather to activate Collins Bonnet, logging 22 QSOs across 2 metres, 20 metres and 40 metres using SSB and FM. A bit of rain left both Jim and his rig damp, but a stint in front of the heat pump to dry has them ready for the next summit. Nick, VK7 Whiskey activated the Tamar Conservation Area, SSB and CW, making 16 contacts in total, 6 on CW and 10 on SSB. This marks Nick's 6th activation park since March. Lance, VK7TO, took on the Tinderbox Hills Summit, an area known for its wedge-tailed eagles during nesting season. Lance kept the key busy, making 12 CW contacts on the 20-metre and 40-metre bands. Al, VK7AN, was spotted via SOTA-Watch as activating Mount Stronach Summit on 40 metres. Rising to 490 metres, the summit is a prominent feature in the Scottsdale area. Hope to catch you on the air. 73 Matt, VK7MAT. QSL News, Inwards QSL Bureau Information. The current updated list of QSL cards held by the VK7 Inwards Bureau as at 4 April 2026 is in the email version of the broadcast. Herman has been asked a few times about sending out QSL cards. It is up to each amateur to send out their personal QSL cards. You can only use the WIA Outwards Bureau service if you are a financial member of the WIA. Your cards must be sorted alphabetically by DXCC country order and sent to the manager of the Outwards Bureau, PO Box 66, Uluru, New South Wales 2284. Any questions, please email to wstyh@aussiemail.com.au. 73 Herman, VK7HW, Manager, WIA, VK7 Inward QSL Bureau. News from the Northwest. Northwest Tasmania Amateur Radio Club, April Club Meeting. On Saturday, 11th April, the club held its bi-monthly meeting. The weather was very bleak, cold and heavy rain. Club members were very grateful when entering the club rooms to smell hot food. Brenton, VK7HP, had made some homemade sausage rolls for members to enjoy, which were greatly appreciated. The meeting was advised the club had been donated 3 take radios from a government entity that can be operated on the 2-metre amateur band. They will be programmed up and available for safety comms members needing a radio. In show and tell, Eric VK7EV brought along a 7.1 flagpole he had purchased for the princely sum of $62 to fly a flag at his QTH. When it arrived, he noticed its potential for mounting a lightweight dual-band base antenna, supporting an inverted V or other antenna work, as the flagpole was very sturdy. One member was so impressed he went onto eBay and procured one. Brenton VK7HP brought along a power meter and HF 1 kilowatt amp that he had made at completion of his radio apprenticeship at the government civil aviation radio section. Now Brenton had mentioned prior that the power supply was big and heavy. That was an understatement, 50 to 60 kilograms required for people to carry it. Brenton had built the transformers, made the circuit boards and designed the circuits, and manufactured the unit from metalwork through to the end product. It was a marvellous construction. The 1 kilowatt linear was another wonderfully constructed unit built from scratch, an interesting upgrade. Instead of silver-plated coils, Brenton had them gold-plated to resist moisture, a common problem in the civil aviation HF base transmitters in parts of Australia. Brenton went into great detail with the design, construction and testing of the finished product, a great show and tell moment. Terry VK7JAI, who spent his life as a broadcast engineer, brought along items from his days as a 20-year-old spending 3 years in the Army in Queensland. in the Prince of Wales Light Horse Wide Bay Regiment that fought in New Guinea. Terry was trained in radio operation and operating ferret scout car in his capacity as driver, radio operator and gunner, and training in jungle warfare. He went into detail with the radios he operated, mainly a wireless set number 19 and the manoeuvrability of the ferret scout car. Terry also brought in a complete service report from a routine check of the scout car's serviceability equipment check, which stated the scout car was consuming a gallon of fuel every 5 miles at speed. He advised how ambushes in the jungle were set up and played out and how to react to an enemy ambush. Terry also brought in his military shoulder badges and metal badges. He relived a comical moment when an American commander was trying to get his radios to communicate with Aussie radios and trying to swap crystals. Terry tried to explain the incompatibility of the crystals, which the Yank was trying to install in a radio. The Yank was rather annoyed that a lowly ranked soldier was giving advice. Eventually the Yank worked out his attempt was futile and Terry was correct, with no apology received. Terry also related that on the train journey to their military training barracks, 2 men, unbeknown to the others, got up to mischief, spending the journey loosening and removing the toilet on the train. Railway officials inspected the train on its arrival, and the soldiers in the carriage were required between them to pay for the damage. Andrew VK7XR and Ross VK7WP brought boxes of radio equipment that either could be purchased with a small donation going to the club or were giveaways. Everything found a new home. After afternoon tea, we pulled the pin and back out into the atrocious weather. Pictures of the meeting show and tell will be available on the VK7 Amateur Radio Facebook page. 73 Eric, VK7EV News Officer. News from the North. SOTA WWFF Parks Group. The Summits of the Air Worldwide Flora and Fauna Parks Group meets twice weekly, Mondays and Fridays 10:30 a.m. till 12 noon at the Glebe Gardens Cafe, Henry Street, Launceston. For more information, contact Al on 0417 354 410. 73 Al, VK7AN. You're listening to VK7WI, and this is the VK7 Amateur Radio News Broadcast. Northern Tasmania Amateur Radio Club Incorporated. For a bit more of our Friday morning tea tech from last week, we also had a piece of obviously old test equipment dropped off. It was clearly of military origin. The outer case was a reddish-black colour. From the moment it was placed on the bench, it began shedding a fine dusting of reddish dust. That didn't inspire confidence about what we might find inside. The case itself was roughly 300 mil wide and deep and about 450 mil high. According to the information plate, it had been manufactured for the Navy Department, Bureau of Ships, by the Bendix Radio Division of Bendix Aviation, Baltimore, in 1943. Opening the case revealed a type CRR 74028 heterodyne frequency meter, and to our surprise, the instrument inside was in very good condition. The outer case, despite its decay, had clearly done its job. Even the internal chassis components and valves looked remarkably clean, and certainly not what we were expecting high. This unit turned out to be World War II era Navy Portable Precision Frequency Standard, which was crystal calibrated and advanced for its time. It was used for aligning naval radio equipment and remains a fascinating and historically significant test instrument. Controls included a tuning dial with vernier corrector, band selector, crystal on-off switch, modulation switch, RF coupling control, and headphone jack. To set up the ship's transmitter, the operator would power up the frequency meter and allow the 1 meg crystal reference oscillator to warm up and stabilize. After calibrating the unit using the internal reference, the operator consulted the serial number matched calibration book to determine the correct dial setting for the desired frequency. The unit was then loosely coupled to the transmitter, often with a simple wire loop, with the transmitter placed in continuous carrier tune mode. The operator listened for the beat note between the transmitter carrier and the reference, adjusting the transmitter master oscillator or VFO until the tone dropped to 0, brought the transmitter exactly on frequency. The principle is the same as tuning a musical instrument. to a reference pitch such as concert A. All we need now is someone motivated enough to restore the case to its original black crinkled finish, and the whole unit will look magnificent. Ross VK7ALH brought in a very neat and compact 50-watt HF linear amplifier, the OGS-50 he had in for repair. The unit was built into a nice small aluminium extrusion with the now very common printed circuit front and rear panels. An interesting detail appeared on the inside of the front panel, a loopy copper PCB track clearly intended to act as a small antenna, feeding a front panel LED, presumably to indicate transmit activity. The amplifier didn't have that all too familiar let the smoke out of a semiconductor smell. Instead, it had the other classic aroma, a vented and disgorged electrolytic capacitor. A closer look at the circuit revealed there was no internal reverse polarity protection, so it appears the main filter capacitor absorbed the full impact of an accidental reverse power connection. It shouldn't be a difficult repair, but the real question is what else further down the line may have been stressed. Fingers crossed for Ross. As usual, pictures will be available on the NTARC website under blogs for this broadcast. Upcoming events. On-air test and technical net session every Wednesday night, testnet and CW course on 3.58 MHz from 7 p.m, then a technical net on 3.567 MHz from 7:30 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. Your host for the evening, Nick, VK7 Whiskey. Club General Meeting has been moved to Wednesday, 22nd of April, 7:30 p.m, held at the NTARC Club Room, Rochalee Scout Hall, Archer Street, Rochalee. If you have any items you would like added to the agenda, please email the secretary at secretary@ntarc.net. Club Room Technical Night. The next session will be held Wednesday, 29th April, and will commence at the usual time of 6:30 p.m. at the Club Room, Archer Street, Rochalee. Coffee Morning, held every Friday in the NTARC Club Rooms. Time is from 10 a.m. to noon. Finally, if you have any items of news, please email them to the Secretary at the following address, which is news@ntarc.net. All items to be received no later than 5 p.m. on Friday prior to the broadcast. That's all, folks. 73 from Stephen, VK7ZSB, Secretary, NTARC Incorporated. News from the South. Tas Maritime Radio seeks volunteer radio operators. Over the past months, Tas Maritime Radio has had a number of retirements due to ill health and operators moving interstate. Operators usually do 1 or 2 shifts per week. There are 3 shifts per day, 7 to 11 a.m., 11 to 3 p.m., and 3 to 7 p.m. Tas Maritime trains the operators over a period of around 3 weeks, with 2 shifts per week, and pays the cost of the required long-range operator's certificate of proficiency. Operators come from all walks of life and find it interesting and rewarding, and in a lot of cases it enables them to give something back for all the years they enjoyed boating. Tas Maritime is regarded as an essential service and has dealt with many distress situations over the last 49 years of operation, just as in the last 11 years it has dealt with 1,060 incidents, 193 which were urgent pan-pan situations, while a further 90 of which were Mayday situations. Log entries since 2015 total 142,258, and last month 1,279 calls were logged. If you're interested and would like further information, give Barry McCann a call on 0417 581 789 or ring Tas Maritime Radio and leave your name and number. Kind regards, Barry. Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Wednesday Experimenters Group, WEGS. Last Wednesday in the studio, Rex VK7MO and Dr. Andrew Klekachuk took us through the latest developments in their aircraft scatter experiments, with Rex transmitting and Brodie VK3MAP, then Grant VK3ZPE receiving and then analysing the audio files using the remarkable application Spectrum Lab. Rex and Andrew shared new insights into how signals interact with aircraft, including significant findings around ground reflections, diffraction and effects, and how grazing angles can dramatically influence results. They also demonstrated practical techniques alongside detailed analysis using Spectrum Lab and ADS-B tracking. There was a slightly frustrating 6 weeks of chasing and frequency jumping issue, and the culprit turned out to be the Raspberry Pi decoder, proving once again that sometimes the problem isn't physics, it's your hardware. The session wrapped up with some impressive modelling, including the estimation of aircraft length that came remarkably close to reality, highlighting just how far this research has come. Thanks to Rex, Andrew, Brodie and Grant for sharing their research. Wednesday evenings kick off early, with members drifting in from about 6 p.m, many armed with takeaway containers or home-cooked dinners. This coming Wednesday night we have an interesting look into the history of the Simplex Auto Kia, which is the only Australian-made auto Kia with Steve VK700 and Justin VK7TW. The DATV studio broadcast begins at 7:30 p.m. and goes out live on the Reese YouTube channel. Around it unfolds the usual controlled chaos, lively debate, hands-on experimenting, gear tinkering, coffee consumption at industrial scale, the hatching of elaborate cunning plans, and the kind of wide-ranging amateur radio mischief and global problem-solving that somehow only truly makes sense inside the club rooms. See you there or on stream. 73 Justin. You're listening to VK7WI, and this is the VK7 Amateur Radio News Broadcast. May presentation, Technorama and Tour. What is Technorama, I hear you ask? The vision for Technorama is that it becomes the focal point which brings technologists together and supports their efforts. The object of Technorama is to further the education and development of technologists within their community broadcasting, to provide opportunities for interaction by conferences, seminars and events in support of these aims. What does this have to do with amateur radio? I'm glad you asked. The skill set of technologists in the community radio sector is a mix of IT and RF engineering. Guess what? It matches the skill set of amateur radio operators very well. We are gathering for the night at the Howrah Community Centre for a short presentation of Technorama by John Mazel's VK4 APM with Zoom. Then we'll be taken on a guided tour through the brand spanking new Hobart FM radio community radio station by community radio engineer guru Jim Parrish. This should be a fascinating night showcasing the community radio technology and support. Wednesday the 6th of May at the Howrah Community Centre at 11 Howrah Road, Howrah and Park in the southern car park closest to the river from 7 p.m. Please note it starts at 7 p.m. There is nothing at the Queen's Domain Club rooms that night. See you there for a fascinating night. 73 Reest Committee. May Forum Night, our new band plans. Wednesday 13th from 7:30 p.m. it's Reest Forum Night, and this time we're diving into the new band plans, with recent changes affecting where and how we operate. This is your chance to get across what's shifted, what's new, and what it actually means on air. Whether you're into digital modes, voice or CW, understanding the band plan is key to staying effective, compliant, and not accidentally annoying half the band. Join us in person on the Queen's Domain Club rooms or catch the session streamed live as we walk through the major updates. Highlights where different modes now sit and help you make sense of the changes. If you've been wondering where to operate or just what to avoid becoming that station, this is one night worth showing up for. 73 Reest Committee. Technology news. ARIS-10, open source pulse linear frequency modulated phased array radar. The ARIS-10 project aims to democratize radio technology by providing a fully open source modular and hackable radar system. Whether you're a university researcher, a drone startup, or an advanced maker, ARIS-10 offers a platform for experimenting and beamforming pulse compression, Doppler processing, and target tracking. Available in two versions, 3 km and 20 km range, it's designed for researchers, drone developers, and serious SDR enthusiasts who want to explore and experiment with phased array radar technology. ARIS is an open-source hardware and software platform with fully available schematics, PCB designs, firmware and supporting software. The two versions are ARIS-10N, offering around 3 km range with an 8 by 16 patch array, and 2 watts, and Eris-10X extending to roughly 20 kilometres using a 32 by 16 slotted waveguide array with 10 watts. In short, it's scalable, software-defined radar platform that lets you build something seriously capable without needing a defence contractor's budget or a clearance level. Sourced from GitHub. Regular VK7 gatherings and events over the coming months. VK7 regular gatherings, Sewing Circle Net daily on 3.64 MHz commencing at 6:30 p.m. AEST. Statewide SSTV Net held every Thursday night via the North-South link on VK7RAF and VK7RJG from 7:30 p.m. In the North and Northwest, VK7RJG on 438.55 -7 MHz, and in the South, VK7RAF 146.65 -600 kHz. CTCSS tone 141.3 Hz to link RAF North-South, plus VK7AX International SSTV Gateway connected to VK7RJG for the duration of the net. Statewide microwave QSO party following the Sunday broadcast callback on 1296.15 MHz FM, one group in the Greater Hobart area and another in the Greater Launceston area. Then North-South digital contacts on 1296.2 MHz using Q6560B. Stations in the Launceston area transmitting on the odd minute, stations in the Hobart area on the even minute. Reached 6 metres AM net on 53.1 MHz every day from 4:30 p.m. SOTA WWFF group, meeting Monday and Friday 10:30 to 12 midday at Glebe Gardens Cafe, Henry Street, Launceston. NTARC Testnet and TechNet session every Wednesday. Testnet CW course on 3.58 MHz from 7 p.m. Then a TechNet on 3.567 MHz from 7:30 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. Your host for the evening is Nick, VK7 Whiskey. NTARC Technical Night Session, Wednesday 29th April from 6:30 p.m. at the Club Room, Archer Street, Rochalee. NTARC Coffee Mornings are held every Friday in the NTARC Club Rooms. Time is from 10 a.m. to noon in the Rochalee Club Rooms. Northwest VK7, Wednesday from 8 p.m. local, Northwest Tassie Amateur Radio Repeater Group on 2 meters VK7 RMD and All-Star Node 56780. Northwest VK7, Thursday commencing at 8:30 p.m. local, Northwest Tassie 2 meter DXNet 144.19 USB. VK7 events, worldwide 18 April, IARU, World Amateur Radio Day. NTARC 22 April, Club General Meeting from 2:30 p.m. in the NTARC Club Room, Rochalee, Scout Hall, Archer Street, Rochalee. Reached 6 May, Technorama, presentation and tour of Hobart FM Community Radio Station. Para Community Centre, Reached 13 May, Forum Night. New band plans, Queen's Domain Club Rooms from 7:30 p.m. and streamed. VK7 to 8 November, Tassie, Ham Econ Amateur Radio Conference, UTAS and Sandy Bay. Reminder to those people rostered for next week's broadcast. Newsreader VK7TW. Repeaters, Reached NTARC and in the Northwest, thanks to NWTARC, WCRG, NWCRRA, VK7AX, VK7JH, and VK7DC. 160 metres VK7GS, 80 metres Eddie Takers, 40 metres VK7ALH, 20 metres VK7JGD, 10 metres VK7VKT, UHF-CB and HF-CB24, VK7FMAC, DMR Talk Group 5 and D-Star Reflector 91C Digital Group. A big thank you to everyone who contributed and supported this week's broadcast of the VK7 Amateur Radio News. That's it for this week. If you missed a live transmission, remember you can always catch the rebroadcast Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on VK7RAA in the north and VK7RHT and UHF-CB24, HF-CB24 in the south. Got news stories or updates to share? We'd love to hear from you. Send them to vk7arnews@gmail.com by Friday 9 p.m. You can also join the conversation on our VK7 Amateur Radio News Group.io page. Stay tuned now for callbacks on this frequency, with each relay station using their own call sign. On behalf of the VK7 News team, this is Peter, VK7PD, wishing you good DX and a great week ahead.